Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Pritam's Code Journal. In this video we will see the LLR parser, that is the LookAhead LR parser. We have done the SLR and CLR in the previous two videos. Okay, so now we know that LALR is in the bottom of parsing under the table driven LR parsing. Okay, so what are the steps to follow for solving the LALR? Okay, so first of all we'll find the first of each non-terminal and terminal. Okay, then we'll write the augmented grammar, then the closure part, that is the productions with the go to. Okay, and then if they have different look ahead but the same productions, then we will combine the states. Then we will write the shift entries and reduce entries in the table. Okay, so we have this example. Check whether the following grammar is LLR grammar or not. And we have the productions as S gives capital C, and we have the next production as C gives small c, capital C, and C gives small d. Okay, so we have two productions of C non-terminal. So first of all, we'll find the first. So first of S would be equal to the first of C, and first of C would be equal to the first elements are small c and small d. So first of C union first of D. Okay, as first of any terminal is the terminal itself, so first of C is a C and first of D is small d. Also, as we got the first of C, now we can write it in the first of S as well. Okay, so now let us write for the terminals too. So first of small c equals to, let us write C, and first of D equals to D. We just have to write it down. Okay, so now we will proceed to the next step, that is of the augmented grammar. In augmented grammar, we just have to write a new starting symbol. So for example, if our starting symbol was E, then we would write E dash, and if our starting symbol was S, then we would be writing S dash. Okay, so we have the starting symbol as S, so I had written S dash gives S. Okay, so now all the productions, and for the C part we had two productions, so I have written them separately. Okay, now we will number them. It is useful because we will write the reduced entries in the LALR passing table at the end. Okay, so now the third part, that is the set of items or the states. Okay, so now let us write it down. States or LR0 sets of item. Okay, so for this we will start from the first starting symbol that we have right now, that is the S dash. Okay, so for that I will just write it as I0 would be the S dash gives dot S, and as we have a non-terminal after the dot, we'll write the productions of it. Okay, so S dash gives dot S, and we have to write the dollar as the look ahead by default. Okay, so we have written the dollar also, that is the look ahead. Now we'll proceed ahead and we'll write the productions of S. Okay, so now as there is a dot before S, we are writing the productions of S. So S gives dot cc, and as we have this production because of the previous S, the next element is dollar, so we will have the look ahead as the first of the next element, that is first of dollar, which is dollar itself. Okay, so that's why I have written the dollar as the look ahead in the S production. Okay, now we have written the C productions. Now we have another C as the next element. So first of C is C and D. So we will write it as C slash D at the look ahead part. Okay, so C slash D and here too. Okay, now we have completed the I0 state. Now we will go to the I1 state, and in the I1 state most probably the original starting symbol is completed, that is the dot is at the end. Okay, and if it is at the end, then we will consider that production as a complete state. Okay, so now I1 state, that is go to, when we pass S in the I0 state, then we will get the closure as the production. Okay, that is S dash gives S dot and the look ahead as dollar. Okay, now we will write in the closure part and what the production was in this curly brackets. Okay, now we have completed the I1 state. Okay, or we can directly, or we must write it as this: I0 on passing S gives me the I1 state. This makes the allocation in the LLR table very easy. Okay, so we will consider writing this only. Now let us go to the I2 state. Okay, let us go for it. So I2 state, which will be on passing C in I0 state, because we have completed for the S part. Okay, and this is a complete state S part, because earlier it was only S. So on passing C in I0 state, we get the I2 state. So I0 on C goes to I2. Okay, now S gives C dot C comma look ahead as dollar. Now we have a non-terminal after the dot, so we'll write the productions of it. Okay, so dot CC and dot D. Now we have the next element as dollar, so we'll have the first of dollar as the look ahead of the new two productions. Now we have completed these two. We'll proceed to the next one. So I0 on passing with small c, we will get the I3 state. So I3 equals to I0 on small c gives me I3. Okay, so which is c gives small c dot capital C with look ahead C slash D. Okay, now we have a non-terminal after the dot, so we'll write the productions of that. So we have written the productions of C. Now for the look ahead part, we will write the first of the next element, that is first of C and first of D are C and D itself. Okay, so now for the fourth production of I0, we will pass I0 with small d, which will give me the I4 state. Okay, so now let us go for it. So I4 state, I'll get it on passing small d on I0 state. Okay, which will give me the I4, which is simply C gives D dot with the look ahead C slash D. Okay, and this is a complete state because dot is at the end. Now we have completed the I0. I1 is also completed. Now we will proceed to the I2 state. Okay, so now let me get another sheet. Okay, now the next state would be the I5 state. Okay, so on passing capital C on I2, I'll get the new state, that is the I5 state. Okay, so I2 on passing capital C, I will get I5, which is S gives CC dot look ahead as dollar, and this is a complete state. Okay, now for the next part, on passing small c on I2, I'll get the new state, that is I6. So I6, I2 on small c gives me I6. We will also check if it is completed earlier also. Okay, and we had the same production in the I3, but we have the look ahead different. That is, we had the look ahead as dollar in I2 state, and the look ahead in I3 is C slash D. Okay, so that's why we have to just write it down, all the productions. So C's production and the first of next element, that is dollar. So we have written the look ahead as dollar in all the C production. You can see 3 and 6 are kind of same, just the look ahead are different. Okay, so we'll do the combining part later. So for the next part, I2 on small d gives me the I7 state. So C gives D dot with the look ahead as dollar. Okay, and this is the complete state as we have the dot at the end. Now for the I3 part, So I3 on capital C gives me the I8 state, which is capital C gives small c capital C dot with the look ahead C slash D, and this is complete state as we have the dot at the end. Now let us see for the next state. We'll get the same production and the same look ahead in this part, but let me just write it down for you to just clarify it. So I3 on small c gives me I9 state, and which will be the same as this I3 only. Okay, so what will I do is I will just cross these and I will just write I3 in this state, which means that there would be a self loop when we will make the go to graph for this state. Okay, so let me just cross this out. Now we will proceed ahead for the next part. Okay, so you can see both the productions were same. Let me just cross these two. Okay, now for the next part, let me just write it down I9, then we will see if it was same or not. Okay, so now for the next part, I3 on D. I3 on D gives me a new state which is the same as I4, so I won't write I9 over here. I'll just write the I4 state. Okay, so now we have completed the I3 part. Now we'll proceed ahead for the I6 because I5 is also completed. Okay, so now for the next thing, I will just write I6 on capital C. Okay, so I6 on capital C goes to C gives C dot with the look ahead as dollar. And we just have to check if it is like written somewhere else too. If it is not written elsewhere, then we will mark it as a new state. Okay, as we don't have the same kind of production with the same look ahead in any other state, I'll mark it as a new state, that is I9. Okay, so now we have completed for the I6 part. We'll proceed for the next production of the I6, that is I6 on small c goes to I6 only because we have the same production C dot C and with the productions of C with the look ahead dollar only. Okay, so now for the next part, that is I6 on D, which will give me the I7 state because C gives D dot with the look ahead as dollar. This would be the same as the I7. Okay, so now this is also completed. So now this and okay, so all states are completed now. We'll proceed to the next step, which would be the go to graph, and then we will make the LALR parsing table. If it contains a double entry in a cell, then we will mark it as not a LALR grammar. Okay, so let us see for the next part. So combined state. Okay, so we will see which state has same production but different look ahead. Okay, so we have first of all the I3 and the I6 state. Okay, so we will write it down again for the clarification. Okay, so I3 and I6 over here, let me just circle these. So C gives dot C with the look ahead C slash D and the productions of C. Okay, now for the next, that is the I6 part. C gives dot cc and C gives dot D. Okay. Okay, so yeah, look ahead were different. These had the dollar as look ahead. That is this I6. Okay. So as we have the same production but different look ahead, I will make a new state, that is the I36, which will be having the same productions, but the look ahead would be containing the C slash D slash dollar. Okay, so let us write it down. So the productions of C over here with the look ahead as C slash D slash dollar. Okay, We will write the same look ahead for every production. Okay, now we will see other states which would be having same production but different look ahead. Okay, so this I4 and that I7 state both have the same production, that is C gives D dot, but they have look ahead different as C slash D in I4 and only dollar in I7. Okay, so let me just write it. So I4 would be C gives D dot with look ahead C slash D, and for this we have the look ahead as dollar. Okay, so now the combined state would be the I47 with the same production C gives D dot but look ahead as C slash D slash dollar. Okay, so now for the next part, let us see if there are any other production which would be having same production but different look ahead. Okay, so we have the I8 and I9 because both have C gives small c capital C dot with different look aheads. Okay, so I8 and I9. So let us write both of these and then we will make the combined state. Okay, so combined state would be I89 with production as C gives small c capital C dot with the look ahead as C slash D slash dollar. Okay, so now we have three combined state. Okay, that is I36, I47 and I89. Let us make a go to graph and then we will make the LALR parsing table. Okay, so now the next part of answer, that is the go to graph. Okay, so sometimes it is asked, but it is always better to draw one, and it is quite easy, so you can make one very quickly. Okay, so we will start with I0. Then we got I1 because we passed S in I0. Okay, so let us write I0 source state, I1 destination state, and S on the arrow. Okay, so now for the next part, we got I2 when we passed capital C on I0. So source would be I0, capital C on the arrow with I2 as the destination state. Okay, now for the I3 state, we have small c, so destination is I3. Now for the next part, that is I4, destination state I4, source I0 with D on the arrow. Okay, now for the next part, that is for the I5. Okay, so we have I2 on C, so I2 on C goes to destination as I5. Okay, there is one error over here. We have to write combined state, as we have made the I3 as I36 now, I4 as I47 now. Okay, but you can see what will happen now. That is, now for the I6 part, we just have to like I2 on C. But where would be writing the I6? Okay, so we will not make a new state. We just have to write the 6 with the I3 over here and I47 over here. Okay, now I2 on C goes to I36. Okay, so I2 on C goes to I6. So we have the destination, we just have to make the arrow with C on top of it. Now for the next part, I2 on D goes to I7. So we will have a new arrow, that is D, which will be combining this I47. Okay, now for the next part, we have I3 on C goes to I8. So we will make a new destination state, that is I8. Okay, which would be I89 because we have combined the I8 and I9 state. Okay, so now we have I3 on C goes to I3 itself, that is a self loop of C. Now I3 on D goes to I4. So I36 on D goes to I47. So we'll make a D on top of arrow over there. Now for the next part, I6 on C. So I6, that is I36 on C goes to I9, which is already done. Now for the next part, I6 on C goes to I6, which is already done. I6 on D goes to I7, so this is also done. Now we have made the go to graph. You can see, I will just zoom it so that you can see. Now for the next part, that is the LALR parsing table, we have made the action and go to part, the states and the combined state, okay, not the separate ones. In the action part, all the terminals and all the non-terminals in the go to part, okay. So now for the first thing, that is where the original starting symbol ended, that is in the I1 state with the look ahead as dollar. So we will write except in the cell $1, okay. Now we will just write the shift entries as per the states, and then we will proceed to the reduced part later, okay. So for the next part, I0 on S goes to I1, okay, and I0 on C goes to I2. In the go to part, we just have to write the number, and in the shift part, we just have to write the S and the number, okay. So if it was I0 on like C goes to I3 state, we will write the S3, okay. So now for the next part, I0 on D goes to I4 state, so we will write S4 over here, okay. But you must never forget that you have combined the I4 state with I7 now, okay. So we always have to write it as S47 in this cell. Now for the next state, that is I2 on C goes to I5, so we will write S5 under the C. So phi, as it is a non-terminal, okay. So now for the next part, that is for the I6, so I will write S36 over here, okay. Now we have S47 under the D, and then we will see for the next part, that is I8 state, okay, which is I89, okay. And then I will write I36 on C goes to I89, okay. Now I36 on C goes to I36 itself, so S36 over here, and for the D part we have the I4, that is the I47 now, that is the combined one, S47 under the D part, okay. Now for the next one, we will have the same thing which is already written, the 8-9 part. I6 on small c goes to 6, which is already written, and I6 on D goes to 7, that is written already as S47, okay. Now all the shift entries are done. We'll proceed to the next one, that is for the reduce entries, and for that we will see the complete states, okay. Let me just write for shift entries, we saw all the states, and for the reduce we will see the complete states. With the look ahead, okay. Now let us go for the I0, I1, I2. We just have to skip the I1, okay. Yeah, we have complete state at I4, which is the same as the R3, okay. So we will write R3 over here, that is for the I47, because we have combined the I4 state, okay. So now for the next part, yeah, we have I5 as a complete state, which is R1 only, because S gives CC was R1, okay. Now for the next complete state, we have I7 is already done because we marked it as I47, okay. Yeah, we have this I89, okay. So we will see the combined states now. So this is not complete states or the complete productions. Okay, when the dot is at the end of every production, then we will consider it as a complete state. Okay, now we have this I47 as a complete one, and we have this as the R3 state. Okay, so I'll write R3 over here. Now for the next part, we have C gives small c capital C dot, which is the R2 reduce entry. Okay, so let me just write R2 over here. Now what we will do is we will see the look ahead and the state, we have to write it in. Okay, and then we will write the R1, R2 and R3 inside that particular cell. Okay, so now let us go for the input. First of all, let us write for the R1, which is I5 on C goes to the R1, but look ahead was dollar, so we'll write R1 under the look ahead dollar. Now for I47 we have C slash D slash dollar, so we will write R3 under all these cells. Okay, so R3 R3 R3. Okay, now for the I89 state, we'll write it under all the terminals, that is R2, in each cell of action of I89 state. Okay, now we have completed the shift entries and reduce entries, but we have not got a double entry in a cell, so this is a LALR grammar. Okay, so we will just write the conclusion now, and this would be the end of the solution. Okay, so conclusion, as there are no double entries in the LALR parsing table, the given grammar is a LALR grammar. Okay, so as there are no double entries in the LLR parsing table, the given grammar is LLR grammar. Okay, you can also write it as LLR parsing grammar. This one and the same. Okay, so now your answer is completed. Let me just zoom it out so that you can take a screenshot of both the sheets. Okay, so let me just bring the sheet one. Okay, so here we have the points to remember and starting part of the example, that is the first part augmented, then the starting part of the states. Okay, just take a screenshot right now if you want to. Okay, and then we completed the states, combine the state with the different look aheads, and then we made a go to graph, we filled the LLR parsing table and made a conclusion out of it. Okay, so thank you guys for watching the video. Do like, share and subscribe. Also comment down below if you are having any doubts. Also, to tell me of what series should I start. I was thinking of starting a Python series. So if you like that idea, then comment down below for a Python series. Then I will start one as soon as possible. Okay.